Hey, what's up everybody? This is Damron. We're playing Halo Reach Part 7 of my Co-Op LASO guide, bringing us to New Alexandria. Let's jump right into a few important things. First off, you need to know where things are because of the blind spot on this mission. The green tower there is the Synovium building, the red tower in the distance, the Virant Telecom Tower, and then to the right of the spawn is this blue building, which is the hospital. Let's take a listen right here for a second.
Request immediate assistance. Go ahead, 2-7. We're at the Virant Telecom Tower. Got hunters between us and the jammer.
Copy 2-7. Help is on.
So the reason I want you to listen to that is because depending on what they say is going to be dependent on where you need to go. So I have to go to the Virant Telecom Tower first, and that's what I'm doing now. So immediately turn right. Before you actually head there, if you get that objective, head like you're going down to the hospital and go down to where I just went, and we're going to hit this button here. We're going to hit a couple buttons before we do this objective in order to make the grunts and brutes non-combatants when we go to the club. You'll also nab a few achievements if you haven't done this Easter egg before, but doing this Easter egg makes the lasso run extremely easier. So let's talk about a few things in this level. First off, as I've mentioned in the previous guides, things in co-op are not the same as solo, and that's really why I put this together, because there's a lot of differences, including enemy encounters. The main thing with the Iron Skulls in co-op, if you die, you restart at a checkpoint, where in solo you're going to restart at the entire beginning of the mission. Of course, there is a workaround if you're playing solo, and that's to save and quit right when you die, and you'll be able to come into the checkpoint. In co-op, though, if you save and quit at any time, when you come back, you will restart the mission. So after we've hit the button to the right of your spawn at the hospital, we also want to go to the Virant Telecom Tower and hit the button that's on the roof. If you hit both of those buttons, basically all the enemies that are in this next section aren't going to give us any trouble, and I'll show you that right here. So again, the three places that you're going to go in this mission, here, the Virant Telecom, the Synovium Center, and the hospital, you will go to all of those places every time, but the order in which you're going to go to those is going to be variable. And I just recommend kind of restarting the mission until you get the Virant Telecom Tower first, because you know, that first button you got to hit to kind of turn the music on in Club Aurora is kind of right there to the right of your spawn, and that's the easiest way to do it, so I'm not flying back and forth. So once we do go to the Virant Telecom Tower where you saw me land, the only thing you're going to have to deal with are those two shade turrets. Everybody in here's dancing, having a blast. Now we are going to take out these brutes in here because they will give us trouble. If you go to the right hand side and grab those sticky grenades, what we're going to do is we're going to stick this brute right here, and then we're going to turn around, and usually you can actually assassinate the brute that's right here, kind of the DJ, but if not, he'll generally be started. You can assassinate him there. Your co-op partner can also be ready to assassinate him when you stick the first brute, but again, head to the other side and kill this brute as well. Once you kill these three brutes, you really don't have anything else to worry about in Club Aurora. Everybody else is going to be dancing, having fun, even if you start smacking them in the face. So once you take that out, you're really good to make sure you have everything you need. There's plenty of health packs in here. We do want to grab a plasma pistol from a brute, or I'm sorry, from one of the grunts in here, and again, you can press the back button on the Xbox controller to see which weapon you have equipped. You can also look down at your shadow to see what you have equipped, and you can also know the differences of the way things sound when you equip them to know which type of weapons you need. The main thing that we definitely want to grab out of this room, and also another reason I highly recommend you just kind of restart this mission until you get the option to go here first, but we want to grab this jetpack right here. This is very critical for doing one of the steps at the Synovium building. So again, I'm just going to kind of, you know, look around here, make sure we're full health. Me and my partner, we're both looking for a plasma pistol, you know, just kind of meleeing the grunts around the building. I'm going to cut it forward a little bit after we kind of search this building high and low, and then once you are ready to leave, head to the second level of this room, and we're going to interact with this battery here, and we're finished with this objective. Alright, so this is where things become very highly variable. Okay, there are 10 different possible side missions that you can get that are going to be in between the 3 main missions. So you're going to get 2 of a possible 10 different side missions. Now I'm not going to show you all the 10 different possibilities, but I'm going to link for you. I'll show it right here. I'll also put it in the comments. Halo Completionist has an excellent solo lasso guide, and in his guide for this he shows you all the different possibilities. So if you listen here,
Victims of evacuees, but we're surrounded by long-range shade turrets.
Solid copy, 39er. Lieutenant, proceed to the waypoint and eliminate those shade turrets.
so you can see I got the objective to assist the Pelican and eliminate the shade turrets. Now, he has in his guide, he'll show you timestamps, and he shows all the different locations that the side missions can take you. All right, so you most likely will not have the same side mission that I had here, but I didn't really think it was relevant to duplicate his stuff. The main purpose of this guide is to show you the variances and the differences that are seen in a co-op playthrough. And in fact, there's not really that much different in co-op in this particular level, because a lot of the strategies we're going to do are despawning enemies. We honestly don't really have to fight many people in this mission. This is honestly the second easiest mission in the game behind Nightfall, so it's very, very easy. Another thing that I do want to show you really quickly, generally when you finish a main mission portion, main objective in this, you will always be attacked by a group of Banshees. After that, if your Falcon has taken a lot of damage, just blow it up. And once you blow it up, you can call in a new Falcon by pressing down on the D-pad. I'll cut it forward here, I think, because it generally takes like a minute or two before the game actually brings you a new Falcon. But just keep in mind, I want to show you that if it is damaged, just blow it up and get a new one, because there's a lot of random Banshees flying around in this mission. There's also a lot of random turrets on top of buildings that are going to shoot at you, so you really don't want to be flying around with a half-dead Falcon. Okay, so once we get in, we're ready to do our first side objective, which was ours to protect the Pelican and take out the shade turrets. And for us, coming from the Club Aurora or the Virant Telecom Tower, it's actually kind of just to the right of it. You can head to these 3 buildings. They kind of are connected. You see them actually straight ahead of me. There's 3 buildings, and in between them, there. What are you doing? Oh man. So there's these 3 buildings. So here, for instance, that's a random turret, right? That's not part of a side objective, and there are some random turrets around. But this particular mission for me, again, you see these 3 small buildings, and then in the middle of it is another one that's right to the right. If you kind of head to the right of the Virant Telecom Tower, and here I just need to take out these shade turrets, and that's going to end the side objective. So again, I just want to make it clear, there's 10 different possible side objectives you're going to get right here, which actually makes the variation in this level pretty fun. But again, I think that Halo Completionist did a really great job highlighting the different possibilities and showing you where those are. So please follow that link in the comments. I'll pin it. So after you finish the side objective, you need to listen again.
Trooper squads went silent after the hospital got hit. I'll mark the location. Complete their mission.
So right now she's telling me to go to the hospital and tells you they're going to mark the objective. Obviously the blind skull is going to make it non-marked, so you need to know where to go. Again, that was that building to the right of the spawn. It's going to have a blue hospital sign on it, so I showed you that in the beginning. So for this one, we actually want to head around to the back, and we're going to go on the back side of the hospital. We're just going to kind of ditch our Falcon. We're going to head to this door back here, and what we're going to do is we're going to assassinate these grunts that are right in the beginning. It's pretty important that you assassinate these grunts because if they aren't dead when we try to come in here with our Banshee, it makes it very, very difficult, if not impossible. Now there is actually some variance to the co-op that I'll show you that takes place in this particular main objective. So I'll mention that when we get to it. But first, the first thing you want to do after you take out those grunts is head back outside, and we're going to hijack a Banshee. And if you just kind of hang out on the edge here, you are going to have a very easy time stealing a Banshee. They tend to just fly right past you. In fact, I'm not actually sure how I didn't get this one. I flew right into it. I'm like holding the hijack button. I was like, man, I don't know how I didn't get that. But no worries. They don't tend to shoot at you either. I mean, they may take 1 or 2 shots at you, but look how close they fly to this building. And you just want to hijack one, and you only need one, and your co-op partner basically isn't going to go in here with you, okay? And this is actually pretty important. Will explain the main difference between the solo and co-op is actually right here. I prefer to shoot off both wings of the Banshee. You'll see in speed runs they just shoot off one, but it makes it much more difficult to fly in here. It's already kind of annoying. I kind of suck at it. So you can see you just kind of fly down that stair here, and then you're gonna fly. Now I'm actually below, you know, the camera thinks I'm on this level, but really I'm on the level below me. And you really just gonna jiggle your stick around until you can get through certain areas. You don't actually have to be where I'm at. I think I've missed a left turn here. Like I said, I kind of suck at this. I kind of just fly around in here until I finally get through. But as long as you took out those grunts, you're pretty much good. The jackals generally won't do much damage to you, and the grunts at the top, they're the ones that are going to blow you up with grenades, and those are the ones that you really got to worry about. So anyway, I'm just kind of flying through here. You know, eventually I will get through, but I will mention something that's very critical in this thing that's different than single player. And in co-op, you're going to have one person that's going to fly down here. The co-op partner needs to be inside this building, inside of the door that we walked into, because after you deactivate the jammer kind of at the bottom, if he's outside, the door will close and the player that did this step here is going to be stuck in here. So that's one of the differences, because, and then there's another difference that I'm going to show you at the end. In single player, a lot of people, so you could actually see my buddy, he was running up on that top floor just hanging out. There's no enemies that's going to mess with you if you are the co-op partner that's not doing the flying. But if you are, just kind of hang out on the inside of that door. Now, the other thing that's different in solo, there's a glitch you can do to where after you hit the button, you kind of just, you can save and quit and then glitch yourself back out to the beginning of this area. That actually doesn't work in co-op, okay? And I'm going to show you the, you know, what we do instead, and that's really why you needed the jetpack. So eventually you're going to fly down here, and by taking the Banshee in this route, there'll be no enemies down here. You can activate the button here, and now we have to head out. Again, this is a big difference right here, and this is why we got our jetpack, okay? So you really need your jetpack for this section in co-op. Now you're going to head back. There aren't any enemies in here because of the way that we came down here, but in single player you can actually glitch yourself to where you don't even have to take this path. You'll actually just spawn back out on the outside of this building, but you can't do that in co-op. So instead you're going to walk back up to this area, and we're going to go ahead and jet back up to the very top, and then we're going to kind of jetpack through this tiny little hole here in between the ceiling and the glass, and you have to kind of crouch through that. It's not super easy to get through there. So you can see my buddy on the inside of the door here, and he's just waiting for me to get up here, because in co-op, if he was outside and the person that was doing the Banshee part, if you hit that button, after you hit the button and the door closes, that person's going to be stuck in that building and won't be able to get out, and the person that's outside is going to have to finish the mission on their own. So after you do that, you're going to get your next side objective. So for me, right here, it's going to be telling me to defend Marines against hunters. There's several of the, you know, and I did cut it forward because we had to call in a Falcon here as well. But there are several of the side objectives that are to defend Marines. And I just want to point out one thing. I could just show you all the main parts, but I want to point out one thing about this particular side objective, because there's several different ones that'll be like defend from hunters or defend from, you know, whatever. I think several different types. I think there's 3 different side missions that are to just defend Marines. If one of the side missions that you get is to defend Marines, it's actually easier to just kill them. If you kill the Marines and then just fly off, the side mission will sort of fail. It'll tell you, oh no, the Marines died, but you won't actually have to do an additional side objective. So we're going to go ahead and advance and do the second side objective again. Just a reminder, there are 10 different possibilities. As I mentioned at the first side mission section, Halo Completionist or Silver, he has a really good solo lasso guide, and in his guide he shows all the possible locations of all the side missions. So I'm going to allude to that. I'll pin that in the comment, and also I will show, link his video at the end of this video, so you can go to that. I mean, he's more popular than I am, so you probably already heard of it if you've come to this channel. But again, he does show them all, and he did a very good job at that. So let's clean up this side mission real quick.
Shake it off.
Mayday! Mayday! 7 Delta 19er to all UNSC forces.
What's your status, 19er?
We found the jammer, but we're getting hit. Request immediate assistance. Synovium Center is... Oh!
Alright, so now we're heading to the final objective for me, which is the Synovium Center. It may not be the final one for you, but this is probably the easiest. If you go back to the back side of this building, you can actually fly up in. The back side is the side that kind of looks like it's almost like spine, right? It's like rib caged, I guess. You can actually fly up. It's easier to fly up on the left. You can get up here on the right, but for some reason I just wasn't having it, so I ended up going out and going up the left. But on the back side right here, if you kind of go underneath the platform and go this way, you actually skip all of the fights leading up to the elevator of the Synovium building, which makes it a cake. Now, before you land right here and take the elevator, there is a brute. There's also a sniper, jackal, and some enemies. I do like to go ahead and take some of them out with the Falcon, just so I don't have to deal with them shooting me as I'm getting out of the Falcon and getting in the elevator, because they can kill you in that short amount of time. So you can see I did shoot a little bit of them. There's a health pack right here if you need it. So we're going to go ahead and hit that elevator. Now up in the next section in co-op, it's best if one person does this. It's really easier. Really, a lot of this level, even in co-op, one person is going to do the majority of the stuff. Now, if you got this place second and you still needed to go to the hospital, where we needed our jetpack for, you can kind of juggle your jetpack over to the elevator. I'm just showing you that if you need to do that. But in this section, we do want to grab that sprint, okay? And we're going to take this all the way back, and the reason is, as soon as we disable the jammer, a lot of the bugger enemies are going to come, and we're just going to skip all of them. I think you can shoot one, but essentially you just want to sprint back to the elevator, and that's really this entire section. So your co-op partner wants to just stay at the elevator, in the elevator, go to the right, so you're kind of behind the wall in the elevator, okay? And that's just the easiest way. You can headshot that bugger right there. Obviously blind makes it a little difficult, but again, it doesn't matter. Just run back, hit the button, and head out. And obviously, if this isn't your last mission and you still need to go to the hospital, make sure you grab that jetpack back before you exit the building. So once you've done that, you've actually finished the 3 main objectives in this level, and the last thing that we have to do is basically kill a few shade turrets and land on a platform to kind of end the level. And the Oni building is where you're supposed to go. Again, blinds on, so you're not going to be able to see where that is, but it's really the largest, tallest building in New Alexandria. As always, you will be attacked by a few Banshees. Every time you end main objectives, there are going to be some Banshees you're going to have to deal with. But also, I do want to mention that even though an objective doesn't actually highlight where you need to go, the Oni building will flash for a second after you finish your final objective. And I believe just a second ago, I think it was on my screen, I think I was facing the direction and you could see it blink. So that's another way. But nonetheless, it's really this large building. You can see it right here in front of me, kind of with that angled roof. Okay, it's very tall, and there's basically 6 shade turrets that are around this building that you need to kill, and we don't need to focus on anything else. For the most part, there are Banshees, there are Phantoms in the area, but don't shoot at them. Just focus on the shade turrets, and I mean, don't shoot at them unless they're shooting at you, obviously. But for the most part, the Banshees are actually going to leave you alone, as long as you're not kind of seeking that fight. And sometimes if even if they are shooting you, you don't necessarily have to shoot at them. You could duck around a building, and as soon as they're out of your vision, they'll kind of stop shooting at you. But you can see all of the shade turrets that are shooting at the Oni building, and basically we just need to take all those out. And once we take all of those out, the platform will extend for us to end this level. So, and a good way to kind of take these out is to just kind of stay wide and stay high. Just kind of circle around the building and take out these shade turrets from afar. And most of the time, they're not going to be shooting at you. And for the most part, the Banshees and the Phantoms are going to leave you alone. So this part is really easy. Overall, as I mentioned earlier, New Alexandria is pretty easy on LASO because of all the workarounds. So once you've killed all of the shade turrets and your friendlies are able to evacuate the building, now you just want to take yourself all the way up to the top of the building, not all the way to the top, but near the top, and you'll see a new platform that extends out from a door, and all you need to do is land on that to end the mission. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you're enjoying the Co-op LASO guide. We've only got 2 missions left. I hope you're finding it helpful. I hope you're enjoying it, and hopefully I'll see you in part 8 of my Halo Reach Co-op LASO guide.